next one. King Nzinga is an interesting one. He was one of those kings who actually received God when the Portuguese brought it to Africa, gave his life to Christ. That's what we call it today. And something really happened. When he gave his life to Christ, it was the Portuguese who brought Christ to him, and then they started taking his young people for slaves. And what then happened is this king had become so spiritual, but I don't want to there, that instead of defending his land, he started writing letters to the Portuguese. This is one of the letters that he wrote, and I want us to read it together. He says, each day the traders are kidnapping our people, children of this country, sons of our nobles and vassals, even people of our own family. This corruption and depravity are so widespread that our land is entirely depopulated. We need in this kingdom only priests and school teachers, no merchandise, unless it is wine and flour for the masses. It is our wish that the kingdom not be a place for the trade or transport of slaves. So gate number 4, that is a king that is not defending his land. He's writing letters. This is the response that he actually got. And this is a follow-up one. He says, in this kingdom, faith is as fragile as glass because of the bad examples of the men who came to teach here, because the lust of the world and lure of wealth have turned them away from the truth. Just as the Jews crucified the Son of God because of covetousness, my brother, so today he is again crucified. So he kept writing letters. He's not defending himself. The reply that he got from King Jao III, he says, you, and look at the ... That's when somebody is screaming at you in a letter, like, you, tell me that you want no slave trading in your domains because the trade is depopulating your country. The Portuguese there, on the contrary, tell me how vast the Congo is and how it is so thickly populated that it seems as if no slave has ever left. Who sits to write letters when his young people are being taken? Gate number 4. Gate number 5, I want to go to heaven. I will not explain it. So next slide. But I'm sure everybody knows what that gate has done, right? So homework for you. The conversation here really with big changes and small acts is we need to start having a conversation about a wholesome prosperity of the people of the African continent. We need to be able to connect people. And for those of you that I came to speak to today, the thing that we have that no other generation has had is this thing called technology. Now, look at what we have as a continent. 2034, Africa will have the biggest working population in the world. In 2050, Nigeria will be the 3rd largest country in the world. By 2100, 40% of the world's population will be in Africa. So for every 10 people you meet, 4 of them will be coming from the continent. Since 2011 alone, we've put 1.4 billion people into the banking industry who were otherwise unbanked. And the conversation I'm having with you is very simple. The small acts that we need to start paying attention to might actually be magnified by this thing called technology. Now, there's something small I want to discuss with you. How many of us love movies and might have seen this movie before? Anyone? Minority Report? Okay, awesome. Tom Cruise was the guy that featured in this movie. He worked in the police department in the movie. In the department he worked in, the department was called pre-crime. What is pre-crime? Pre-crime says we're going to use data, quantitative data to actually analyze a person's activities online and every other thing that they're doing. And we're going to predict whether or not they're going to commit a crime tomorrow, and we're going to arrest them today. Well, it looked funny in the movie. This movie came out around 2011 or so, if I'm right, or 2008. A group of Chinese saw it. AI was exploding all over the place. They started working on it. What you see there is real life. On top, these are samples in criminal ID photo sect 8. Down, 3 samples in non-criminal ID. A technology exists today that can actually evaluate all of your online activities and determine to an 89.5% accuracy whether or not you're going to commit crime tomorrow. In Asia, this is being used. I just introduced this to pull your mind somewhere. Now, increase global abundance. We're accelerating and demonetizing and democratizing every single thing. Everyone everywhere is connected at gigabit speed. How many of us have 2 smartphones? 2. How many of us are able to hotspot and share with our friend? We're all working with internet cafes in our pocket. Are you following me? You can know anything, anytime, anywhere. There's a new technology that's coming with point number 5. It will be very interesting to see where the prophetic ministry goes. Whenever I talk about religion, I get in trouble. Let me shut up. Next slide. Wow, how did it happen? Why are we seeing what we're seeing? The kind of technological explosion we're seeing. This is Moore's law. Gordon Moore is the co-founder of Intel, did a study for 7 years, discovered that every 12 to 24 months, computational power increases and then the price decreases. Studied it for about 7 years and came out with a law that says that for every 12 to 24 months, we're going to see technology go ahead and we're going to see price decline. How many of us remember Pentium 1, Pentium 2, 3, 4 was better than 3 was better? I'm sure if somebody calls you to give you a Pentium 2 now, you will slap him and curse his whole family, right? Because it's like, are you nuts? I remember those days we used to have something called Windows Vista. It was the best thing that had ever happened to us. A lot of you have forgotten that now. On the left, you have the first ever GPS receiver that ever existed. You needed to be macho. For those of you who are watching outside and you don't know what macho is, it means you needed muscles to be able to carry it. $120,000 to buy it. The thing in your phone that allows you to order Uber is under a cent now. Gordon Moore's law. 12 to 24 months, we go. On the left, who can tell me $400? What is on the left? Anybody? Just look at it. Guess. Anyone? Just try. No, you are not. Who's that power bank? You will never make heaven. How can this be power bank? Talk to me. What? The airplane is there, obviously. There's something in front. That's the one. You're just smart because the thing, you can see me doing comparison. Can't you see that external is there? That is the IBM Ramac 503, the first ever hard drive. Who can guess the space it could carry? Space. Anybody? For $100? How much? What? Actually, it was 5 megabytes. And so to put a full Sarkodia song, you use the aeroplane to come, copy 3 meg, go. Today, some of you are even tired. You have 256 gig and it's still full. Are you seeing God in Moore's law? Follow me. 15 years ago, none of these jobs existed. We did not have social media managers. Facebook didn't come until 2008. Data scientists, podcast producers. This man behind the camera is my podcast producer. He makes full money to do hair. Look at hair from podcast. Mobile web developer, Lyft drivers, AI-related jobs. None of these jobs existed 15 years ago. Again, we're having a conversation. If you look at things that have happened and how fast they've changed, look at the top companies in 2006 and how much they were sitting in terms of the company's net worth. And today, Amazon is already $1 trillion business. Again, we're going somewhere with this. This one is very, very important to me. Let's start with Airbnb. The interesting thing about the Airbnb business model, and nobody is teaching this in any business school in the world, period, is they are an industry leader with no legacy cost. If Golden Tulip or Kempinski or Movenpick or any of the hotels wanted to build a new room, they need to get cement, blocks, plumber, mason, everybody. It takes about 3 months to build a new one. In that same time, Airbnb would have uploaded a new room in a microsecond with you going into your room, looking at the room you're not using, taking a picture. About 800 kilobytes later, you upload it onto their website. They have a new room. So they are industry leader, no legacy cost. How do you compete against that? I personally hate Google. When I was young, I used to make a lot of money writing love letters. I used to listen to Westlife and Celine Dion. I had all the cool words. I used to write the letters and get paid. Today, everybody goes on Google and goes, romantic test. And they took me out of work. I don't like them at all. When Uber showed up, the taxi driver said, we will finish you. They attacked them. They took them to court. How many of you heard about that story when they were being attacked? So again, you see technology kick in, and then what happens? Amazon decimated bookstores. Libraries, do they still exist apart from in schools? They're gone. There used to be a time where it was flex that you had a library card and you could go. That was the bougie thing. That was the DB thing, not Slay Queen. Anyway, I'll get into trouble. So where does this lead us? My time is short. We need to run. We need to start thinking about where this goes. And I want to leave you with a very interesting story. This is literally the end of my conversation to you. And this is the point that means the world to me. If we want to make big changes through small acts, then this story will interest you. This young man is Jack Andreka. Jack Andreka was 14 years old when his uncle died. He died of pancreatic cancer. Jack gets angry and says, what happened? It is, by the way, known that there is early stage detection, and I'm glad I'm in a medical school. There's early stage detection for almost all the cancers, skin cancer, breast cancer, all of them, but we didn't have for pancreatic cancer. This young man says, I do not agree why my uncle had to die. So he went on Google, he designed a small artificial intelligence set, machine learning algorithm, and applied it to a research on Google, and he came up with what he called a 5-page thesis. His thesis was that carbon nanotubes were going to help us to be able to detect pancreatic cancer early. He then sent it out to the top 200 research cancer facilities in the United States of America. Nobody got back to him. Jack received a reply from Johns Hopkins University. They say, look, the little boy is showing some level of, invention. Bring him, give him some t-shirt, tell him he's done well, tell him to apply to Johns Hopkins when he grows. Let's see what we'll do. He gets there, gives them the 5-page thesis, explains himself. They realize that the kid is making a little bit of sense, so they give him lab time for 3 months to test out his theory. It turned out that Jack Andreka was right. And at 14 years old, Jack Andreka single-handedly transformed pancreatic cancer from 99% mortality to 99% survival. And he did it by searching Google. If you have Google on your phone today and you're about 14, shame on you. That's the point. So, what's the takeaway home? If you do not remember anything, remember Jack. And this is the only time skin shouldn't matter to you. Don't say, but he's a white boy. The point is very simple. The big changes we're looking for can be achieved in small acts that can be amplified by technology. Instead of taking a consumerism approach and being a consumer and just scrolling, start thinking about technology as a way of solving Africa's biggest problems. This is how I end almost all of my speeches. Africa's problems will be solved by Africans. And so it's time for us, especially as young people, to stop complaining. It's enough. We've done the complaining. We've done the Twitter trolls. It doesn't really bring any solutions, does it? It's okay to look at the latest wig and look at the skirt that the highest slave queen actually wore for the Ghana Music Awards. That's also nice, but it doesn't provide solutions. We need to actually start thinking about technology as a real economic empowerment tool and an innovative way to solve Africa's problems. These are my last words to you. If you are not part of the solution, then you are absolutely part of the problem. My name is Kwame A. Opoku. Thank you so much for having me.